Hey everybody, Corbs here, and in this video I want to talk to you about a discovery that I made that was relatively simple. But when I got a hold of this and when I started incorporating it, it took me from where I was currently at in my trading and it helped me 5x extremely fast. And not 5x my account size, but I was working on a current goal and it helped me break through that and then 5x it. And if you are somebody that is a trader, this is great, but if you're doing anything else, if you're somebody who's in sales, this is gonna work out incredibly well for you. If you're somebody who's a marketer, again, this is gonna be directly applicable to you. Even if you're in a situation where you're a parent and you're just trying to get better with your kids, okay, this method here is extremely powerful and you can apply this to virtually anything and it's gonna help you see massive results in a very quick period of time, okay, in days, as soon as you start actually incorporating this, okay? And I know it will for you because it did for me. Because when I first got into trading, I had a very rough start because I didn't know anything about trading. I had no education, I had no background, I had no training. And so when I got in, I just had no idea what I didn't know, okay? And if you kind of jump through all those first just beginning times and you fast forward a little bit, okay, I was at a point where now I had been in trading for a while and I actually knew a lot about trading. And I had a lot of information here and I had the skill set to actually put up some winning days and to put up some winning trades, right? And I would sometimes sit down at the end of a session and I would be up several $100s. Sometimes as much as $800 I would be up. But then at the end of the week, I would be red. And at the end of the month, I would be red. And even though I was having these good spurts, it wasn't consistent. And I wasn't able to actually string these together, right? And that's what I wanted. I just wanted to be consistent. And I had this goal of trying to put together just a green week, right? Like that's all I wanted, was just to have a week that I was completely in the green. And it was tough because I tried, and I kept losing, okay, over the longer periods, having these good periods, but then over the bigger periods, I would be losing. And I was just running out of capital and things were getting very tight. And on the inside, it was tough because I knew that I know enough about trading to actually make this work, or at least to be performing better than I currently am, and to at least be turning some type of consistent profit. But I was up against this wall, and I couldn't get past it. As much as I tried, I just kept losing, I kept losing. And like I said, things were getting extremely tight. And so I was listening to some type of a podcast. It was either a podcast or it was just a trader talking on YouTube. But either way, he was speaking and he referred to trading as being like a high performance sport, okay, which is something that I've heard before and that it wasn't new to me. But for some reason, when he said it, it clicked and it kind of, really stuck with me that yeah, trading is like a performance sport. And maybe the issues I'm having, it's not with what I know, but it's just how it's a performance issue. And so I took that kind of, nugget and I started looking at performers, started looking at top performers, and specifically in the space of sports, because that's kind of a really good correlation. It's so trackable, and you know who's performing well and who isn't. And when I was diving in, and when I started really looking at just high performing athletes, the Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Michael Phelps, and just looking at these people and really trying to figure out what separates that, okay, from people who are in their same exact field but not performing, or people that we don't even know their names, right? And when I started looking at it, the routines and kind of just the normal things I guess you would look for, but when I started looking at their actual statistics and their numbers of how they were actually performing, what I discovered was powerful. And it was very simple, but when I started making this connection between, okay, here are these high performers and here are these people that aren't, and what are the actual numbers for what they're doing, okay? When I made this discovery, I developed this method and I started incorporating it into my work. And it was very difficult at first, and I actually didn't have any success with it because I was missing on how to get it to stick and how to actually follow through on it, okay? But when I finally was able to build up the character to stick with this, I went from having a 3-day win streak be the largest streak that I could put together to, as soon as I started doing this, I had 18 green days in a row. Just straight green day, okay? Just green day. But just profitable days, and I was never able to do that before, okay? And so this is a very powerful method, and like I said, if you are somebody that is in sales or any type of a performance sport, but any type of a performance work atmosphere, this is going to be directly applicable to you, and this is going to be very, very powerful. And this is the purpose of this video, is I want to explain what this method is, and I want to show you exactly how you can do it. And you can take this and start using it today. This isn't something you have to wait for. This is, I'm going to outline it completely in this video, okay? And maybe even a better way to do it is I can outline it like this. But if we start looking at people, and we'll take athletes for now, okay? And we'll start looking at them. But what we end up having, and if you look at this, is we typically have people almost on two different sides, right? So you kind of have these guys, and you'll kind of have like, this group, and these would be the top performing people, okay? These would be the people that are winning gold medals. These are the people who are in first place, who are getting the branding deals and so forth, and these are their competition, right? And they're, maybe for easy association, we can talk about Michael Phelps, all right? Somebody who we all know his name, and this is one of the people I've looked into. And when you look at what he's been doing, and you look at how he's been performing, okay? It's really incredible what you'll figure out, because we all know his name, and we all know his accomplishments, and we all know at what a high level he's competed at in the past. And if you were to look at his record and look at his numbers, and if you were to just look at any one of his races that he took home the gold medal in, all right? So if you were to look at the 2016 Summer Olympics and look at the 200-meter butterfly, okay? And this is, one of the ones that I've looked up recently. And if you were to look at this competition where he took the gold medal, okay, first place, sponsorship deals, doing your country proud, like all the fame and the stardom that comes with that, and then you were to look at the person who came in 8th place, okay, who I have no idea what his name is, and I think he was from Belgium or Denmark or maybe Belgium, okay, what is it that separates these people? Because there seems to be a massive wall, okay, from person who on this side is almost godlike, who just like, they seem special, they seem like they're born under the right star because they're doing such incredible things. And then over here where we don't even know his name, but he competed and he was there and he came in 8th place, but nobody cares about 8th place, right? And so you see this massive wall that's separating them. But if you really take a look at this, what you'll notice is in this race where Michael Phelps won first place, his time and his final time and what he scored was 1 minute, 33 seconds, and let's just say 84. Okay? I might be having these a little bit off, but a minute 33, a little under a minute 34. And then you have the 8th place person, this person who we don't know his name, he came in at 137. And let's just say 18. I'm going to have these numbers a little bit off, but okay. So 137.18. So what you'll see here, and the point of this, is what's separating 8th place from first place, okay, is actually less than 4 seconds. There's just over 3 seconds that's separating somebody who we don't know and somebody who's getting endorsement deals, making millions of dollars, and winning first place, winning the gold medal. Okay, and this is staggering because on the surface, it looks like there's this huge wall that's separating, these underperformers, if you will, from the high performers. But if you were able to get up close to it, and if you were able to see this, seemingly high wall, and you were able to look at it, you would be able to tell that even though the wall is tall, it's fragile. It's paper thin. There's almost nothing holding it up. And any one of us, if you're watching this video, or me or anybody, we have the ability to bust through this wall and to take it out and to get on that other side. And the only thing that's stopping us is this little difference right here. Okay, and so the people that are on this side and that seem to get on in life and seem to get things done, it has nothing to do with being special or being born under the right star. The common denominator here is these people have developed the skill of doing the things that people on this side don't want to do or that they just won't do. And they do those things, and that's what gets them those results. And that's what gets them on the other side of this wall. Another really good way to break this down is if we looked at Major League Baseball. Okay? If we look at Major League Baseball and we take the top performers in there, okay? So if you looked at the stats and if you looked at the batting averages, okay? The batting averages for the entire MLB, what you'd see is you have Mookie, okay? Mookie Betts, who plays for the Boston Red Sox, and he had the best batting average in 2018, okay? So he was at the top of his field, the best batting average in the entire Major League Baseball. And what he ended up having was a .348. Okay, so a .348 was his batting average. And then if you look down at, you got second place, third place, fourth place, fifth place, sixth place, seventh place. If you go all the way down here to 16th place, what you're going to find is, Corey, okay? Corey Dickerson, okay? And I'm not making this up. That's I just was thinking about it because it was actually hard to remember because he was in 16th place, okay? And what he ended up having was a .300. This was his batting average, okay? So if you understand this, the way that they calculate these batting averages out is the times that they're up at the plate, right? So every 10 times at bat, what these numbers are telling us is Mookie's having 3.48 hits for every 10 at bats. And what we have down here with 16th place Corey Dickerson is every 10 at-bats, he's hitting 3. Okay, so what's really separating these people? Mookie up here makes $10.5 million a year. Okay? Dickerson makes $512,000 a year. Corey Dickerson, nobody cares about. Mookie's the top of his field. He's the number one in the entire Major League Baseball for batting average, making $10.5 million a year. And then we have Corey down here with $512,000. What's really separating them besides all this flash and the stardom and these sponsorship deals, right? The thing that's separating them is less than half of an at-bat for every, or less than half of a hit for every 10 at-bats. There's almost nothing. It's this wall that's separating them, and it's paper thin. And you and I, or everybody, we can walk over it. And it comes down to really this very simple principle that your life, right? Back to what I said about these people doing the things that they won't. Your life, it's never going to be what you want it to be. Right? Because we all kind of want the same things. We all want to be happy. We all want to have money. We all, want to be reasonably comfortable. And your life isn't going to be what you want it to be. Your life will be the choices that you make. Okay? And developing this skill of doing these things, right? And inside of this doing, these things that they do, there's a lesson here for every single one of us. Because as I said earlier, if you're somebody who's in sales, or if you're somebody that is in marketing, if you're a trader, whatever you're doing, there is something that you should be doing, right? Something that you could be doing that's going to get you over that wall. And the connection here and how this applies to you, how this applies to me, to whatever you're doing, is that what is it? What is it in your profession, your field, your skill set? What is it that is that half of a hit every 10 at-bats that's keeping you here? And if you figured that out, if you did that thing, then you would be up here. And you would be with Mookie, and you would leave Corey right down there, right? And that was my discovery, and that's what I had to figure out is what is my thing? What's that thing that I need to do? That seemingly small thing of hitting a half of a hit for every 10 at-bats. That's going to separate me, and that's going to take me to that next level. And what I ended up doing was, and what got me there is I would wake up. I thought about this for a while about what I could be doing, and then I decided, and I would wake up 1 hour early every single day. Okay, so I was trading traditional markets at the time, and I needed to be at my desk by 8:30. And then an hour before the market would open, I would do market research, prep, and then 9:30 the markets would open and I would be off, right? And so what I would do is I would wake up an hour early. I did my morning routine. Nothing changed. I just got to my desk at 7:30 instead of 8:30. And when I was there, I would do my prep, do my research, everything, and then I would be done an hour before the market opened. And during that hour, what I would do is I would pick out a random session, just a random trading day, and I would do chart replays. So I would pick out these days, I would pick them out from a chart, and then they would just replay. And I would watch them, and they would go, and I would watch them, and then they would, they would go, and I would watch them play out. And I would do this on 10 or 15 times the speed. Right? So I was doing these chart replays, seeing how they opened, seeing how, if we had volatility or if we had impulsive moves, how we responded. And I would sit back and I would either paper trade them or I would just watch the chart replay. And this is actually, if you're a trader, this is a very powerful exercise to do, and you should consider this. And especially if you're watching it at multiple times the speed, when you're sitting there every day and you're watching the monotony of slow market movements, and you step back and you watch it 10 or 15 or 20 times speed, you're actually going to pick up on a lot of things that you're not going to see when you're really zoomed in watching everything happen. Okay, so it's a powerful exercise, but this is what it was for me. This was my edge. Okay, and when I did this and I started dedicating an extra hour to these market replays and to watching the market and putting in that extra time right before the market opened, as soon as I started doing that, that is what took me from getting over this I can't put a green week together to having 18 straight days of winning in a row. Okay, that's how powerful it was. That's how powerful it is to find that thing, okay, that you're not doing, or find that thing that is going to make you perform better, and then to actually execute and to actually do that every day. Okay, so how do you do this? How do you find your thing? How do you execute on it? How does this practical for everybody, right? And what I've created is I have this sheet that you can use. You can make a copy of this. I'll link this in the description. And you can either do this digitally or you can take this and make a copy of it for yourself. Okay? But what this is this is a sheet that's going to help you figure out what you need to be doing and then help you execute on it. Okay? So what we have here is in this in the top corner, it has skill. Okay, it just says skill, and that's going to be whatever it is that you're trying to do. So if you are, in sales and you're trying to get better at sales, if you are a marketer and you're trying to market, okay, like I said earlier, it's a great example even, but if you're a parent and you have this goal to be better with your kids and to help train them better and raise them better, okay, whatever it is that you're trying to learn, whatever you're trying to get better at, you can do it with this, all right? So you figure out what the skill is that you need to be doing, and then right underneath that, it just says actions, okay? Actions that will make me, that will bring me results. All right, and so there's 10 empty spots here, and what you have to do is you just have to chunk out some time, and then you just have to brainstorm, and you have to write down 10 different things, 10 different actions, okay, that that if you did would make you better at what you're doing. Okay, so you're a parent and you're trying to be better with your kids. Okay, you know that there's a book you should be reading. You know that there's something you could attend. You know that there's some, time that you could chunk out to be creative with your kids and plan things for the two of you, however many there are of you to do, right? You're into sales. You know that there's educational equipment or educational material that you need to be going through. You know that you need to spend more time in front of your customer. You know that you need to find a buddy that's in sales and you need to get together and practice your sales routines, practice your closing, practice your techniques, right? Like we know what we need to be doing. All of us do. The thing, that edge that we all need that's going to separate us, we all know what it is. We have a very powerful tool right here. It's not our brain, it's your mind. Your brain and your mind are very different, and you don't want to confuse those, but in your mind, you quite literally have the resources for virtually everything you need. And if you sat down and you thought about, what am I doing? I'm self-employed, I'm doing this, I'm an artist, I'm a singer-songwriter, whatever you do. If you were to take this and you were to sit down and think of 10 things that if you started doing them, actions, it would take you to the next level. You know them, write them down. And understand, you do 10 because 7 of those are probably going to be garbage. And they're going to be things that you really don't need to be spending your time on. You don't really need to be doing, right? But if you sit down and you think up 10 ideas that are going to help you and 10 actions that you could be taking that would improve, your results and what you're seeing out of your effort, if you do that, then what's gonna happen is you'll have 2 or 3 gems and 2 or 3 things that you actually should be focusing on, you should be doing, okay? So take this sheet of paper, print one off, and then write down 10 things that you need to be focused on. And then once you have those 10 things written out, you just go through them, think through each one of those actions one by one, and pick out the one thing, okay? The one thing that is your half a hit for every 10 at-bats. It's gonna be small. It's gonna be seemingly, for me, it was chart replays, okay? It was going through that. It was a methodical exercise that was more than just chart replays, but that was the action I did. So when you find your action and you find out that one thing you need to be doing, okay, how do we actually start doing it right now? Because we have to commit the time to sit down, and we have to commit the time to actually be performing this action. It doesn't do you any good just to know it, right? Like for me, I knew enough about trading, but I wasn't getting where I wanted to be. So how do you find the time for this? Because everybody's busy, right? A lot of people are in school and they have jobs. A lot of people have families and they have jobs. A lot of people are working multiple jobs. And you might be saying, Corbs, like, I'm tapped out on time. I don't have the time to dedicate to this right now. And I hope we understand that if you are in a situation where you don't have a lot of time, okay, that's a lie that we tell ourselves, because all things being equal, time is the only thing that is equal. We don't have the same skills. We don't have the same background. We don't have the same education. We don't have the same, head start or slow start to life. But the one thing that we all have the same amount of is time. And you cannot make excuses and make progress in your life at the same exact time. You have to pick one or the other. And if you want to make excuses, then you have to stay on that one side of the chart, right, that I drew up there. But if you want to get this fixed, and if you actually want to see some results, then you have to find the time, okay? So I want to help you with this. And one thing that I think that we could all do is commit that we're going to use 4% of our day. Okay, that's it. That's the 4%. Like, use this. I call it the 4% rule, okay? And this helped me. And what this says is use 4% of your day to learn this skill, to educate yourself further, to do that thing that you need to develop. For me, again, I was doing chart replays, right? Just 4% of your day. Everybody watching this, if you're watching this, you can dedicate 4% of your day to learning something new. Okay, and here's the really crazy thing. Is if you took 4% of your day, every day, you took 4% and you dedicated that to learning something new, to this new skill, okay, to this action, all right? What you would notice is that during the course of an entire year, okay, 4% every day, that's going to give you 9 full 40-hour weeks of work. That's what it comes down to. If you took 4% of every day, and if we're not sure what 4% is yet, it's an hour. Okay, so 1 hour of every day is only 4%. There's no excuse here. Everybody can find 4% of their day. And if you do that every single day, you dedicate 4% 1 hour. During the course of an entire year, you've accumulated 9 40-hour work weeks that you're putting into that one skill. Think about whatever you're doing. Are you a singer-songwriter? What if you dedicated 1 extra hour and you put in 9 40-hour weeks? How much better? What kind of results would you see in your craft? If you're in sales, think about if you practiced and you dedicated and you worked and you grew your skill of being a salesman and you had 9 40-hour weeks to work on that craft. Whatever you're selling, you had a car dealership, towards the end of that year, people are going to wonder what in the world happened to you. And you will have escalated and grew and outgrew probably multiple times over, okay? Like I said, anything that you're doing, if you're a trader, take that extra hour and figure out how to dedicate that to your craft, find that 4%, and then that's going to be your edge that separates you, that gives you that half of a hit for every 10 at-bats, and just gets you to a completely different level. Okay? And if you're doing something and maybe you're starting a brand new skill, or you're starting maybe a brand new space and you don't really know like what your actions that you need to be taking are yet. So maybe you're just starting a new industry or you're starting a new something. Then for you, the thing that you need to give your 4% to, and your action, the thing that's going to be your edge that's going to break you down through that flimsy wall, your thing is going to be education and learning and growing, okay? There's a book you know you need to be reading. There's a course you know you need to be purchasing or going through, or a mentor you need to learn something, right? I don't need to tell you what it is, but that's what your thing would be, just the educational part of it. But if you're like me, when I told you my part of my story, I already had enough in my head. I just needed to actually be able to put those pieces together. And this was a very, very powerful technique that helped me get that, right? And so once you have that thing you need to be doing, for me, it was chart replays. For you, it might be being in front of the customers, pitching more sales, whatever. Then how do you actually make yourself do it? Because that was my issue too. Like I started doing this, and I told you I didn't really see results with this at first, and I kind of had to figure out a way to get myself to do it, because it's almost impossible to just will yourself into doing something, right? To just say, like, I'm going to do this. And you can do that for a little bit, but that doesn't last. You don't actually see real results with that. It comes, it goes. That's why diets don't work for most people. New Year's resolutions don't work, because like we want to will ourselves into doing something, and that kind of an approach doesn't really work, right? So the best way that you can get something to stick is you have to make it a habit. You just have to. Like, that's how you get things to stick. Your life, my life, everything that we do, almost everything we do, like on a day-to-day basis, is just a habit. And if you change the habit, you change your life habits, you will change your life, like literally. Okay, like that's very powerful. And without going too far down on the importance of habits and how to structure habits and how to break the habit loops and so forth, the best way to make something a habit is just by repetition and by doing it over and over and over again, right? And so that's why on this sheet, the second part here is just 30 cells, okay? It's a grid here. And it just says day, action, and then yes or no for 30 days. Okay, so you have the date there, and whatever your action was, whatever that thing was that you needed to be doing. For me, it was chart replays, so I would put chart replays. For 30 days, did I do it? And if you can do this and you can develop the character to stick with this for 30 days, okay, do that thing for 30 days, you will see massive results along the way. And then it'll be a habit and just be a part of your routine, and you'll be very much accustomed, and it'll be habitual for you just to take that extra step, right? And if you're in a situation, and most people, very few people, myself included, like, don't have the character to just stick to something for 30 days, right? So if you have a spouse, if you have a partner, if you have a friend, a mentor, anybody that you trust and that has your best interest in mind, print off this and make them a copy as well, right? And let them know what you're doing and have them help you be accountable. Accountability is massively underrated. And accountability creates an enormous amount of freedom and an enormous amount of progress. And there's no shame in that. We weren't created to be islands. And accountability is a very, very powerful thing as well, okay? And so at the bottom of this, it just says that the 1 hour equals 4% of your day. There's no excuse, right? And so commit to finding your edge, executing on it for 30 days so that it will be a habit. And if you can do that, if you can pull that off, you're going to smash through that wall. And the only way, okay, if you go through this process, you sit down and think about your skill, your craft, whatever it is you've committed your life to, right? And your business. And you sit down and you think about 10 things that if you started doing them, you'd blow out your results. And you narrow it down to the one thing that's going to get you the most results and the most important thing for you to be doing. And then you commit to 4% of your day, 1 hour every day, to just working on that one thing. At the end of the year, you give yourself 9 40-hour work weeks to dedicate it to that one thing. The only way that you're not going to blow your results through the roof is if you don't do the work. It's impossible. There's no way you won't see results come from this. Okay, it's very, very powerful, and it's very, very simple. Not easy, but it's very simple, okay? And so take this. Like I said, there'll be a copy of this. I'll link it. You can print one off, or you can do it digitally. However you want to go about doing it. But do that, and you'll see some almost instant results. Okay, and that's what my experience was with it. Again, it's a powerful method. And I know it will be for you as well, okay? So that's about it for this video. And just by way of closing, if you like this type of content, go ahead right now and hit the subscribe button. I'll be doing a video like this once every single week, okay? And I'm not, putting a lot of time or energy into the production quality of things because it's very much not important to me. But I do promise that I will deliver quality content, valuable content, that if you take the principles, and these are things that you can start applying right to your life, that you can start seeing results with, okay? And I'll be pumping those out and doing one every single week, okay? So hit the subscribe button now and stick with the channel. And then make sure that you actually take some action on this, download the sheet, and start using it right now and start using it correctly, okay? So be well, everybody, and I will see you in the next video.